So this week we're listening to Amy Beach, who was America's first female published composer.
No matter how many thoughts are racing around your mind, no matter how the body's feeling, just take a moment to sit down and take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, a sense of taking in fresh air, the lungs expanding. As you breathe out, a sense of letting go of any stress in the body, in the mind, just feeling the muscles soften and relax. And close your eyes if you'd like to. One more, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment to pause. Allow the thoughts to come and go. And then just gently opening the eyes again.
And as we begin our collective worship, we light our candle. What did Jesus say? Good morning, everyone. So this week in collective worship, we've been learning about failure and success. Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, bumpy ride. This is called rally driving. Hold on, I'm coming to a bump. In rally driving, there are two people in the car, the driver and the navigator. The navigator helps the driver by watching out for twists and turns in the road. We all need help. It's important to ask for help, and it's important to accept help too.
It looks like you have a question. Sam, did you understand what the teacher was saying? It's okay if you don't understand, but it's important that you decide to ask her for help. She will be able to help you understand it. Most people need extra help with difficult subjects, or when they have a different learning style from the way the material is presented. You just need the courage to ask. Here's how these students got the courage to ask for help.
If you need help in school, my advice would be to definitely project yourself and ask questions. It's never okay to not understand and let yourself be confused about something, because you need to understand and you need to know.
Asking questions improved my grades because when I was unsure and I raised my hand and asked, my teacher would verify my answer, and so I knew what I was doing right or wrong.
Before the class, read the chapter ahead of time. That way when you're in class, you're going to know exactly what the teacher's already talking about. And if you were confused at first, you can ask your teacher specifically, what is this? And you don't have to wait to the day of the test when you're going to get that grade and just, it's not going to be what you want it to be.
Never be scared to ask for help. I ask my friends for help. I ask my teachers for help. I ask my principal for help. I ask my dean for help. I ask everyone for help.
Just remember, it's up to you to choose to get help. You have to decide to overcome your fear and ask for help. No one will know you need it unless you ask. And there is nothing to be embarrassed about. It will only help you.
Asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. Asking for help shows that you have the courage to admit that you don't know something, and the courage to learn something new. Asking for help or accepting help is a strength.
Have you ever heard of the expression, if at first you don't succeed, try again? Well, now you have. And if you think about it, you can't try again without failing first.
Engineers fail all the time when they're trying to find the best solution to a problem. In fact, failing is really important because it helps you figure out how to make a solution that does work. And to do that, engineers need to find their failed solution's failure point. So, what is a failure point? To answer that question, let's revisit some of the steps we've been using to design and test the possible solutions to a certain problem. We started by picking out a single variable, the angle of the ball ramp. Then we did several trials where we changed the angle of the ramp each time, and we had a few failures along the way. In our first trial, we knocked only some of the pins down. And in the second trial, we got no pins down at all. But on our third trial, we got the outcome that we wanted. Strike! And we decided that our solution was a success. Now, because we took the time to pick out one variable, we could be pretty sure that it had to do with why our first two trials failed. We figured out that when the angle of the ball ramp wasn't right, it sent the ball rolling right into the gutter. Now, in the bowling alley, our solution pretty much either worked or it didn't. But sometimes solutions to a problem work for a while, and then don't anymore. And this point, the point where a solution doesn't work anymore, is called a solution's failure point. To explore this idea, let's look at some different examples. Say you're out in the woods and you need to cross a stream. Fortunately, there is a solution handy, a small wooden bridge. You can take the bridge safely across the stream, right? Oh, but did I forget to mention that you're also driving a bulldozer? Now, that bridge might not work. At some point, too much weight will make the bridge collapse, and that specific amount of weight would be the bridge's failure point. It's the point where the solution wouldn't work anymore. It's a place where an engineer could say, here's why the bridge failed. Let's look into a pretty famous failure point involving another bridge. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge crosses a body of water called the Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington. As you can see, the current bridge has two decks, one that goes in each direction. But that's not the original bridge. The original Tacoma Narrows Bridge opened in July of 1940, and it looks pretty good, right? It was a solution to the problem of getting people across Puget Sound. That is, until November of 1940. By then, the bridge had earned itself a nickname, Galloping Gertie, and it's easy to see why. Whoa! It turns out that the failure point of the original Tacoma Narrows Bridge was wind hitting it at a certain speed and angle. At this angle and speed, the bridge would twist back and forth. Eventually, it collapsed, though no one was hurt. Once engineers figured out that failure point, they designed and built a new bridge, one that could withstand winds like the one that made old Gertie gallop. And that bridge is still standing. Thanks to what engineers learned from the failure point of Galloping Gertie, suspension bridges are stronger and safer than ever. It's a success story that started out in a failure. So, sometimes solutions have a point where they don't work anymore. Engineers call these failure points, and engineers try to find them as they develop solutions for a problem. Really, they want to identify these points before the final solution is put in place. That saves lots of time and money, and sometimes lives. And sometimes failure points are pretty easy to find, and sometimes they're harder to figure out. But when engineers do find them, they learn from them to find even better solutions to a problem. You wonder how they do that exactly? That's another story for another time. Don't fail to meet me back here soon.
I want you to know that failure can be your best friend. I mean, think about it. The greatest successes in the world are people who often had so much pain from a failure that it drove them to much greater success. Did you know those little 3M stickers, for example? Those ones that you see that you can put, I think they're called Post-it notes. You can write on them and put them on something and take it right off instantly. Do you know that was a result of a massive failure by the chemist? He was working at the time to create an adhesive that would last forever, something that you could never pry things apart with, and as a result, he came up with this stuff that didn't work at all. But he was smart enough to say, hey, what could I use this for? How could I use this supposed failure? And he turned it into a multi-million-dollar business. I gotta tell you something, when I get frustrated, I've learned to get excited. I've learned to literally condition myself so that frustration creates excitement. You know why? Because when I'm frustrated, I know I'm about to have a breakthrough. It means my brain is searching. If I get confused about something, instead of going, I'll never learn this, my response to that is, hey, I'm about to learn something. Because my brain is searching for a new answer, and if it keeps searching, it's going to come up with one. I believe the emotions that many of us consider negative, like frustration and rejection and pain, can be our greatest friends because they can drive us to success. You know what? Listen, when people succeed, they tend to party. When they fail, they tend to ponder. Now, the pondering, many times we create our greatest successes in life. Just remember, it's impossible to fail. If you try something and it doesn't work, just try something else and learn something from what you just did. As long as you learn something, you've succeeded.
And for many people who have faith, they believe that you can only fail if you stop trying. And leaning on this truth, you can do this with the strength God gives you.
And if you'd like this prayer to be your prayer, it's Amen at the end. You're welcome to look at the candle flame, or you can put your hands and your eyes together. Lord, help me to see failure as steps to success. Give me the strength to keep going when I find things tough. And help me see opportunities to help other people. Amen. And that concludes our collective worship for today. I'm just going to pull the car to a stop so that I can finish collective worship for you all. Hang on a minute. Okay, I've come to a stop. Remember, work hard, be kind, look after yourselves, and I'll see you around school. Car appears to be upside down.